Hello and welcome to our webinar today. My name is Christina Winstead and I'm the Program Associate for Outreach here at the Washington Student Achievement Council. Today we're going to be talking about navigating the FAFSA during the IRS data retrieval tool outage. We're going to talk about what the IRS data retrieval tool is. We're also going to talk about how to retrieve those 2015 taxes if someone wants to file for the FAFSA now and they don't have their taxes for some reason, how to retrieve them. Also, how to support filers that have been selected for verification. So that's always a scary part is, oh no, I've been selected for verification. We'll talk about what you can do to support your students, or if you're a student, what you can do to finish that process. And finally, we're going to talk about how to request a tax transcript. So the IRS data retrieval tool, what it is it's an electronic tool that transfers the information from the IRS, your tax information, to the FAFSA so you don't have to input it manually. This launched around 2009, 2010 for that financial aid year, so it's been in use for a long time. So a lot of people may have forgotten how to manually enter in that information. And what it does is it reduces the chances of being selected for verification because they are getting that information directly from the IRS. And unfortunately, we're here today because the IRS data retrieval tool is currently unavailable and will most likely not return until October, till the next FAFSA cycle. So we want to give you some tools and resources to help you during this time. So this is what the data retrieval tool looks like on the website. So if it asks a student to leave the FAFSA to go to the transfer for the IRS, they're going to skip it at this point because it's not available. So the big question we're getting is, can I still file my 2017-2018 FAFSA? And it is a loud screaming, yes, please file. If you are going to be attending college in the 2017-2018 school year, you want to file that FAFSA as soon as possible. You want to make sure also that you're following the deadlines of the colleges you're applying to. And students can still apply for the WAFSA as well. So the applications for financial aid are still open right now for next school year. In order to file a FAFSA, there are some documents that you are going to need and gather. So for the 2017-18 FAFSA, you're going to need a driver's license or a state ID. You'll need your income information, and that includes bank statements, your W-2 pay stub, your 2015 taxes if you have them, but if you don't, some of those will work as well. Your parents, if you're under 24, your parents are going to need to complete a component of the FAFSA if you're considered dependent. And so they'll need their financial information. They should bring a copy of their 2015 tax return as well. And then additional financial information, including child support statements. They're going to need to know how much cash savings and checking, their checking account balances as well. Those are all things they're going to be entering in to the FAFSA. Now, what if you can't find those 2015 taxes? I mean, it's 2017. Those things are easy to lose. So if you have lost your 2015 taxes or just didn't get a copy of them, there are several ways you can go in retrieving that information. If you had a tax preparer finish that 2015 taxes for you, you can go ahead and request that from your returner and see if the people who filed it for you, to see if they can provide it. You can request your 2015 record of account tax transcript from the IRS. So this is the tool to use if you cannot find those taxes. It is free to do it this way, to get a tax transcript. And you want to make sure you get the record of account because it provides the most comprehensive and most detailed information. And you can request that with IRS form 4506-T, and we will talk more about that form, and I even have copies of that form for you to look at, and we'll talk about where to send it. Now, this is going to take up to 10 business days. That's the most common way to get this information. Now, if you need an actual copy of your tax return, which you will not need for the FAFSA, but if you need it for your own records, you can order that online through the IRS. It's $50, and you'll need to complete a different form. It's IRS form 4506 to request this return. This can take up to 75 calendar days, so you want to make sure to order that record of account to make sure they have the information you need for the FAFSA. You don't need a copy of your tax return for the FAFSA, but if you need one for your own records for another reason, I just want to make sure that information was in there for you. You're going to enter in that 2015 tax information manually right now. So they will actually tell you, based upon the form that you used for your taxes, what lines you should be using and where you should input them. So there's a little question mark on the FAFSA that you hover over, and it'll tell you more information about the question they're asking you. So you'll be able to manually transfer them in depending on the form that you used. And if you have already done the FAFSA and you are just renewing your FAFSA, some of that basic information about you can be transferred into the FAFSA, so it's a little bit easier. In a pinch, if you can't get your tax transcript, you can use your 2015 W-2s to estimate your adjusted gross income, your income tax, and anything else that they're asking. But you want to make sure you go back in and enter in the accurate data from your tax transcript after you've submitted it. So you can submit it with the estimated information, but you want to update it with the accurate information afterwards. So here's a copy of Form 4506. This is the form that's the least common. This is the one that you would need if you want to request the entire Xerox copy of your taxes, which you will not need for your FAFSA, but you might need for your own personal records. So verification season's upon us. If you have been selected for verification, it's okay. Typically 1/3 of the student population are selected for verification. I remember when I was in college, I was selected for verification. I thought I broke something or had done something wrong, but that was not the case. There are different ways that you're selected for verification. Verification is when a student or a parent or both need to submit supporting documents or additional documents to verify the accuracy of the information they submitted on the FAFSA. And the income is the most common item that they're asking for in that verification. And the easiest way to verify that income and the most accurate way is to provide documentation through your IRS tax transcript. Students who have completed the FAFSA much earlier in the FAFSA cycle, who use the IRS data retrieval tool, they will have a less likely chance of being selected for verification, but they still can be selected for verification, so you want to make sure that you provide that information if they ask for it. Tax transcripts, we're going to talk more about in a second, but they can be requested online by phone or by fax. Right now, we're finding that faxing that Form 4506-T to the IRS is the easiest way and the way that you're going to get that information back the quickest. So when you're ordering your tax transcript, when you look at that form, it can be very confusing, but you want to make sure you know to select the right one. And the way to do that is to know what kind of tax transcripts there are out there. So you can get a return transcript, and that has most of the line items from your taxes. The account transcript is going to tell you more about the payments you made on your taxes, adjustments to your taxes, assessments, things like that. The one that you're definitely going to want to request if you need your tax information for your FAFSA is going to be that account of record, because it's a combination of both the return transcript and the account transcript. Now, some students this year are being asked to provide a verification of non-filing. It's just basically proof telling from the IRS saying that you did not file taxes. And so if you have a student that is needing a verification of non-filing, they want to make sure that they complete the tax transcript as well, and that's an actual letter they will send. Now, if a parent is needing to request their information for verification and the student, it's going to be two separate requests for that information from the IRS. So you can only do one tax form per request when you're requesting these on the paper version, and I believe on the online version as well. For the online version, so this is the website you'll go to for the IRS. On the online version, there's a lot of detailed information you're going to need before you can request that online. So this might be a little bit easier for those who have the documentation you need to get into that account. For everyone else, it's going to be through the mail. You can also fax this information in, and you can also call a hotline number. But again, we've found that the best way is to fax in that paperwork to the IRS. So if you're using the online tax transcript system, you're going to need your first and last name. You're going to need the the tax filing address, and it has to exactly match what was on the taxes. So if you used ST instead of street and you put street in, it's not going to come up as a match. It has to be exactly from the taxes. You're going to need your Social Security number. You'll need the tax filing status. So, and then also, this is the hard part for students, they're going to need a credit card, a mortgage number, a home equity loan, or an auto loan number. So they have to show that line of credit, and then they need a mobile phone number with an account in his or her name and an email address. So the challenge is with this, is that a lot of families will not have all of these components, and so ordering this can be frustrating if they don't have those. We want to make sure then to get them to the right form, which is going to be that 4506T form. So for the 4506T, this is what you're going to use to request your tax transcript. Again, this is a free option, and I encourage, I'm very frugal, the free options for you. When you complete this form, this is a critical piece. There are a bunch of addresses listed on the back, and it can be very confusing on where you're supposed to return this form to. For Washington State, you're going to return this tax transcript to the Utah address. So either you can mail it to the IRS in Utah, or you can fax it to 801-620-6922. Here's a close-up of that form so you can see the different types of tax transcripts you can request. If you're requesting a Form W-2 or Form 1099 series, this bottom one, number 8, there's a separate address you need to send that to. Typically, you're not going to need this at all for your tax transcript for your FAFSA, though. You are going to need either the record of account for getting the information you need to complete the FAFSA, or the transcript for verification, or a letter of verification of non-filing. So if you are working with this form and you have to fax it in, there's a lot of students out there who don't know what a fax machine is, and that is okay because it is 2017. But you still have to fax that document in, and there's a couple options. You can fax through, there's some companies that actually will allow you to use your phone or computer as a fax line. And so one of the ones I looked at was Hello Fax, and you get 5 free pages. And those are encrypted with bank security, bank rate security. There's a lot of public libraries that also have faxing services. So Seattle Public Library will fax for $1 a page, and the application that you are sending in is only 1 page. I know Spokane Public Library also has these services, and I believe they're free. You can check and see if other libraries have these. And then WorkSource has fax machines for job seekers. So if you're a returning adult and you're job seeking and also going to school, you can use that resource at WorkSource. And they have a ton of other great resources for job seekers. The other piece would be if you are at a school and you have students that are going to be experiencing this, is to check and see that your fax machine at your school still works. I've had several schools now that have had to go through and learn how to use the fax on their scanner printer. A lot of the scanner printers you can turn into a fax as well. So when you get selected for verification, a couple tips just to help you navigating that process. As someone who has been selected for verification, I know it can be very scary. You just want to make sure that you're prompt in your responses to the financial aid departments, especially when they're requesting additional information. The worst thing you can do is get that letter and just put it aside and ignore it, because they cannot award you any funds until you've returned the information they're asking for. So you will not receive your award until this process is done. Ask questions. Your financial aid officers are there to help you. They want to see you be successful. They have the resources. Use them as a resource. And then make copies of the documents you're submitting, because you most likely won't receive them back to you. So once you submit something to a college, typically it's their property, and it's hard to get that documentation back. So make Xerox copies of the documentation you're submitting. Start that process early and follow the deadlines that they've provided. Those are really important tips there, because if you miss that deadline, you might miss that financial aid package or maybe the amount that you were supposed to get in the first place. So make sure that you're really proactive about this process. Even though it's scary, the best thing you can do is contact your financial aid office and start that process as soon as possible. If you receive your award letter, so let's say you go through the verification process and now you've got your award letter and you have questions about it, it's okay to contact your financial aid office. They are, again, wonderful resources, and they want to make sure that you fully understand that award. Another reason why you'll want to contact them is if your financial situation has declined, has changed since you submitted your FAFSA. So let's say in 2015, when you filed your taxes, everyone in your family was working, but maybe a parent lost their job since 2015, and your taxes from 2015 are no longer reflecting an accurate income for your family. You want to talk to financial aid about that. And then also, if you have received your award letter and you cannot afford, if that's not affordable to you, it's okay to ask them if there's any other scholarships or other funding sources available. If you do not ask, it's a guaranteed no. You want to make sure that you're being an advocate for yourself and asking these questions. And then sometimes it can be hard to get through to financial aid offices on the phone. It's because they have thousands of students that they're working with, but be persistent. Also, you can set up, if you're close to your college that you're going to, you can set up an appointment and go and talk to them in person. It's great to get to know these people because you're going to be filing the FAFSA or WAFSA every single year that you go to college. And so in October, if you're a senior right now in high school, and in October, you're going to be applying for your sophomore year of college financial aid. And these are the people who are going to support you in that process. So again, don't forget, you have to reapply every single year. We want to make sure that you have that award waiting for you every year, and doing that means applying in October or as soon as possible. The application will come out on October 1st, 2017 for the 18-19 FAFSA year. So you want to make sure that you are getting that information in so that you can be considered for those awards. Also look at work study options and employment and internship possibilities. Those are great ways to supplement income, but also to gain more experience while going to school. Get to know those financial aid officers at your school. They are wonderful people, and they love what they do. So you want to make sure you get to know them because they will know about different opportunities for you. My financial aid officers over at the Evergreen State College, they were the best. They made sure that I had what I needed, and whenever I had questions, even though I was nervous about going to them because they were financial aid officers, they always explained everything in plain language, and I couldn't thank them enough for it. So use them. They're there to be helpful. Also, apply for other scholarship programs whenever possible. So using the washboard.org and applying for scholarships is great. Consider that financial aid process a part-time job. There's a lot of work to do applying for financial aid and keeping that student loan debt as low as possible. So consider that like a part-time job, and you'll put enough hours towards it. If you have any questions, or if you have questions about the 12th year campaign and supports that we have for your FAFSA and WAFSA events, as well as application events, we are happy to help you. We are currently registering sites for the 17-18 12th year campaign. You can contact me at christinaw@wasac.wa.gov. You can also use our website, wasac.wa.gov, and then Ready, Set, Grad has a lot of resources as well as student workbooks. Gear Up has some great information too that you can use even if you're not a Gear Up school. Please let us know if there's anything we can do to help you during this time. We are here to make sure that this process is easy to navigate, and we'd love to help you. Thank you so much for listening to our webinar, and we look forward to working with you soon.